Thanks, Chair, and thanks very much to the Rapporteur for her work. I think I would start by the point saying that we won't have an industry at all if we don't have a planet. And we won't have a planet unless we take our environmental challenges seriously. And part of that is a shift within transport to the least polluting mechanisms. And that does mean that taxation is a key vehicle in allowing us make that transition. And I think, if we're going to get the targets that we've set ourselves environmentally, then we've got to take that on board and we've got to use taxation to that end. And I think some of the points made by some colleagues are a little bit in denial of that reality. So we actually very much welcome the Commission's proposal to address the kerosene tax exemption, for example. I think there is a lot going on at the moment with the other files, the ETS, refuel aviation, Fit for 55 and all the rest, and we do need to address this holistically. But we think we'd like to look at the idea of extending the kerosene tax to all flights departing from the EEA area, not only the intra-EEA ones, to increase the ambition and tackle the highest emitting flights. It's absolutely necessary. We have to do this. From an overall point of view, we do support a lot of the Rapporteur's position. We share maybe the concerns of the Greens about the delaying of the application. We don't think we have the luxury to be able to do this. We very much welcome her proposal to allow sustainable fuels and electricity to be used in the rail sector to benefit from a minimum tax rate of zero. Very, very important proposal in that regard. I mean, it's lunacy that you'd have a situation where in some countries electricity for trains is taxed at the national level while aircraft are exempted from kerosene. And the points made by colleagues about reducing taxation on filthy LNG is something that I wouldn't countenance at all. We're obviously aware that there are concerns about the impact of competitiveness and so on, but we've got to stick to our objectives. So the concerns for us really very briefly, regarding sustainable aviation fuels, we think it's really necessary that their development is accompanied by an analysis of the non-CO2 impact, and that this is collectively taken into account when we look at taxation in the area. We really disagree with the provision that Member States can only apply exemptions to the taxation of rail freight, provided that cargo flights are exempted from energy taxation as well. This is just not on. We've got to actually prioritise and favour rail. There's nothing wrong with that. We actually have to do it. And I do think the preferential treatment being given to cargo aviation and the exemption from the kerosene tax scenario is deeply worrying, because there's been a huge growth in this area. Cargo aviation are amongst the most filthy in terms of emitting. They fly longer, they fly further in some of the oldest aircraft, and they are responsible for some of the most highest CO2 emissions. So excluding them is not a runner as far as we're concerned. But look, we're happy to engage with colleagues in the work and thank the Rapporteur sincerely.